because it was the very first time I was ever kind of really involved in anything like that, and like writing a play and being involved in a workshop so heavily, where everything was like was mine. You know, it was a nice feeling. It was to eventually to put it up myself was a lot of work, so I didn't really enjoy it because the very first time I did it, you're drained. You got no time to enjoy it. The next time that we did it, we had it with the actors, and we had cast it exactly, and we put in force everything we wanted up to that point.
And this is the Satchmo Suite,
This is the Sesame Street, yeah.
which was fairly recently published by Talon Books.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. In British Columbia, Campbell River. The same people now, they're the same people that have been running the Harry Potter publishing here, just bought the publishing company that I'm with now. So, you know, so there's that, you know. So yeah, that's a big moment. That's when we got published. There's just so many moments with the thing because we originally wrote it in like '93, you know, and here we are next year. You know, like it was going to be 20 years. It's a long time, got a long road and a lot of stuff going down. And I'm still in contact with my writing partner, Hans, which I spoke to him the other day. Gave me a call, and you know, he's teaching and stuff. He's at Dalhousie teaching, and so it's, you know, I mean, that there's just so many moments. It's hard to come down on one, but I think the very first time that we actually saw it at Eastern Front Theater in Halifax, the first time we put it up, and we saw it up. We just looked at each other and just thought we were gone nuts because it was up and running and full audience, and every, you know, theater hard hitter in the region, in the Atlantic region, was there, you know, and that's the time. That was the time of it. You know, the true flowering of the whole thing. That was great.
And then when we got to watch it with Maila.
Yeah, and then later on, having my granddaughter down Maila for the summer, and we took her. She saw more than one performance of the thing.
She saw it three times.
You saw it 3 times, yeah. So like, that time, and it's still kind of, and it's still in the glow and the afterglow, and I still think of going back east and recouping myself, because it seems that's the only place I'm really creative, you know.
Were your parents musical?
My mother was more musical than my dad, but he was a bit of a drummer, you know, in his day. And I mean, by the time I grew up, I didn't see him do any of that stuff. It was all a lot of music around, a lot of written music. I remember growing up, there was a lot around. But and then by the time I grew up and went away and came back, all
Your
that stuff
mother's
was gone.
brothers. Your mother's brothers.
And on my mother's side, yeah, in Crowell, Nova Scotia, they were all musicians. My Uncle Murray had a place where all of the guys, all the musicians in the area that were happening in the Atlantic, you know, area would come to his place, and even guys from Don Messer, those guys, and all the jazz guys, and just, you know, Charlie Chamberlain, all these guys. I mean, these guys are like folk guys, you know. And my uncle had these guys by all the time. And even a group called the Lincolns, which is an R&B group that's been across Canada, and I think John Gray wrote a play for them years ago that was really successful. And those guys, a lot of it took place at my uncle's place, at Murray's place, because I always used to go into Murray's to jam and whatever party. So,
How did the great entertainer Don Franks come to own a painting by esteemed native Canadian artist Brian Marion?
oh wow, now that's a good time. Talk about a good time in your life. I was down in living in London, Ontario, and I was working at a halfway house, and they asked me to put together a concert for them so they'd be able to promote the place in some kind of way, because there was a budget for it. So I went out and we got all the different players and stuff for it. And Dave Wilcox was top of the bill for that. And I got this marvelous idea one time of getting a Don Franks actually to be the MC, and he came down, and it was just a marvelous, marvelous time. He, let's see who else was there. I guess Morgan Davis was there. Mary McLaughlin was there. Oh, shit, I can't leave anybody out. Colin Linden was there, right? Willie P. Bennett was there. My God, just a lot of people. Let me go now. But it's sort of, I know Ken Palmer was there, his group. Dixie Flyers, who were from London. My God, my God. But it was nice. And it went to a point where, I remember, nothing's on tape or anything, but at one point, Mary McLaughlin was playing piano and Don Franks were both singing at one point, which was, I really thought was great because it's just, I never even really thought of putting those two together, but they